And it doesn't give me a countdown. All right, there we are. Three, two, one. Hello and good morning or afternoon in the case of Big Amo. It is the last day of the year, guys. 2021, Big Amo. We have made it to New Year's Eve. No days off over here. Bill Belichick would be so proud of us. I heard so many podcasts yesterday say they're not going to do anything today. And those guys are making six-digit figures, but not us over here. Big Amo and I are bringing it regardless of what's going on. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm good, my friend. It's been a very good year. I'm looking forward to this Sunday, and there's plenty of games, and I've got plenty of options, so it's going to be fun. I think. Let's not let this COVID get us all down.
Yeah, come on now. Let's keep it going. Focus on the positive, out with the negative. It's the last freaking day of the year. We're gonna do that. We're not gonna focus on the negative over here, man. Seeing you got your Bruce Springsteen teacup over there, the boss. Yeah, man. So we're wired for this show. I wake up like a jackrabbit, baby. I'm ready to go. Big Amo's ready to get his afternoon tea going. And this is the betting show you guys all love. I know it's one of the most popular shows. Big Amo's back this week. And we're going to lay into it. Big Amo, guess what? The mouse has hit 2 weeks in a row now, my friend. So I'm feeling ornery. I've got a couple mouses going today. We got a beautiful slate of games because there's no Thursday games, no Saturday games. So we have a freaking full slot of Sunday games. I've built a mouse for the AM slot. We're going to go ahead and call it the Journey/mouse, and we're going to put on a PM mouse. But I would like to hear some of your bets. What are you researched this week? What have you found this week? What are some of your better angles that you feel really confident about so far this week?
Well, I may as well recap what I did last week. I was very successful last week. My single came in. My mouse also came in. And I had a couple of other... I had a treble as well. So, yeah, everything went well for me last week, and I was in plenty of profit. This week, right, okay, let's get cracking then. I'll go to one of my main bets. I've got 4 singles this week. 2 I'm taking a little bit of a punt on, but 2. The first one is I was on the Bengals last week. I'm on the Chiefs this week. The difference between the two teams is probably, especially this time of the season, is huge. You've got a head coach and not a rookie anymore, Burrow, but they've not been in this situation before. They're possibly trying to seal off their own conference championship, so they might have one eye on next week, even though they've got the Chiefs visiting this week. They've got the Browns next week, which they could take not the conference, but their division. So I've got a funny feeling, and the stats to me just don't sort of add up to what the bookies have put out there. I know it's a -4.5 at the moment, but I'm quite happy with that. The Chiefs' defense has been just absolutely fantastic over the last couple of weeks. Spags has done an amazing job. They haven't let any. I've got a little bit of stats here for you. Over the last 10 games the Chiefs have played, their opposition has averaged 10 points. That's just through simple mathematics. So the the Bengals are flying. I completely understand that, but this defense generally sits back. They want to cut out the deep threat wherever they possibly can. So anyone who's trying to get deep, which unfortunately that's Higgins, who's been playing quite well, and also Chase I know he's adjusting his game, but mainly they're looking for this deep ball, and I just don't think Burrow's going to get much success. But I do believe that Mixon will have plenty of success against the Chiefs running rush attack. So my main concern is the fact that I think they'll be involved in the game. They'll get points. They might get over this average of 10, because the only team that has actually scored any points on them was the Chargers. They scored 25 points. So they've got a similar sort of offense to the Bengals. But I think it's also a case of the other side. They've got an average defense. They're just sort of average all across the board. They're good players, and in certain circumstances and certain matchups, they will benefit from them. But when you come across someone, the likes of Kelsey, they're going to struggle. Kittle had 12 catches for 150 when they played them. So I'm sure, and as one of Mahomes' favourite targets is Kelsey anyway, I think they'll utilise him a lot more, and I think he was going to get the ball often more than not. I mean, as we discussed before, their two safeties are very, very, very good, and they're good sort of positional and good at tackling, especially for fantasy side. But this is Kelsey. I think Kelsey will become more involved in it, and Hill only played 40% of the snaps last week because of the COVID, so he's also a potential weapon as well. I think they're going to beat them in the trenches, and I think they've just got a better overall team, and they've got a better coach at this situation. So if this was a Super Bowl, for example, on a neutral field, and you're getting 4.5 from the Chiefs, I'm sure everybody in the world will be banking on this. This is just sort of, I would expect this line to be at least 7. At least 7. I expect the Chiefs to be even. They are currently the Super Bowl Super Bowl favourites. And if you go to the Super Bowl, they'll beat most people on sort of a neutral field by at least 6. So I think we're getting value here with the 4.5.
Yeah, I think last week's memory is fresh in everybody's mind. And I've said it on this show, and I've said it to you multiple times. I don't know who the Bengals are from week to week. You know, if Burrow, that offensive line is still not great. You know, say what you want. They have a great triplet of wide receivers for Burrow to throw to. Higgins. Why can't I think of his old teammate's name right now?
Boyd and Chase.
Chase. I mean, say what you want. I mean, he has helped the team, but when you go look at the game tape, there are still plenty of times where Joe Burrow is having to run around. Why was he so successful last week? He had a lot of time in the pocket. You know who he's playing this week? Chris Jones, Frank Clark, Nick Bolton. They're going to be probably sitting Dirty Dan on a couple blitzes.
Yeah,
he's going to be running around like a madman, dude. And I'm right there with you. I think this is an easy week. It was one of my bets I made it was the first bet I placed this week. It's the very first bet I placed on my weekend bet was Kansas City money line, and I teased the line up to 59.5. A lot of people are thinking offense, but you know, it's just what you alluded to. The Kansas City Chiefs have been playing excellent defense. It's not Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes isn't the reason they've been on this amazing 6-game win streak. It's because their defense turned around and played really well. And I want to highlight on a player that Big almost spoke about because he's not getting enough recognition, and it's Nick Bolton. And he's a rookie linebacker, and I think he's really shored up the middle of that defense so that Chris Jones and Frank Clark can bring edge pressure consistently and come into the interior. And he's one of 2 linebackers I saw that has over 100 tackles with 10 tackles for loss. So he's not sitting back and letting running backs and offensive linemen come meet him 3 or 4 yards up the field. He's attacking that line of scrimmage. And if he's able to do that, it's going to be a battle between Joe Mixon and him. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to watch when we watch this game. But I'm right there with you. I got Kansas City, like I said, teased up the line to 59.5, and I took the under, and that's coming in at plus 105. So we're getting over even odds for a simple 2-leg same game parlay. And Big Amo and I both feel really great about Kansas City in this game. So go ahead and lay it on it. You can take your angle or you can take mine, but I think we're both saying the same thing essentially. So
yeah, just one little thing. I mean, we've got the all-conquering Green Bay Packers and Dallas offense, and both of those were held under 10 points by the Chiefs this year. So that says quite a lot. I know it's sort of recency bias or whatever it is, but they are playing well. I'm not saying that the Bengals won't score. I just don't think it's going to be enough to cover what the Chiefs can do. Okay, my next game, I really like the Arizona Cardinals. I think they've got lots and lots and lots of weapons. I think they've got fantastic ability. The coach is potentially suspect. A lot of the media are already sort of killing him. They're saying he's no good. But he has got sort of particular trends in the second half of the season where everything just falls off. I think he relies probably too much on Kyler Murray. And Kyler is a phenomenal quarterback. Unfortunately, he's not running at the moment. And if you don't have Kyler running, it's really, really struggling. Then you've got the loss of Nuke. So you now don't have Kyler Murray's legs to get you a third downs. You can't throw it to Nuke to get the third downs. And he's trying to concentrate and trying to get Ertz. Is it Ertz? Zach Ertz, the old Eagles player. So they're trying to utilize him to get the third downs that they need. it's not going to work against this Dallas defense, who everyone is saying is the best thing since sliced bread. They bring pressure, they bring everything they possibly can, and they've got the ball hawking Diggs, who seems to be plucking interceptions left, right, and centre all over the place. The Cowboys have got weapons, in which this is where the main crux of the argument is just simply the defense for the Cardinals has just fallen off a hill since JJ Watt's been injured. They have not been able to stop the run. They have not been able to contain in the secondary either. So I can't see how Dallas are not going to put points up against this Cardinals team, and I'm not 100% sure where the Cardinals are going to get all their points for needed. So I've taken the Cowboys -6 currently at the moment, and I think that's it's fairly obvious to me, really. I think that the matchups are just too big. The Cardinals haven't got the secondary to cover the three weapons, and the hemorrhage, like we said last week, they just hemorrhage rushing. So Zeke and Pollard could have a potentially really, really good game as well. So they're going to be helping out someone in the fantasy finals, that's for sure.
Yeah. From a fantasy perspective, the only Cardinal I'm really trusting this week is Chase Edmonds. He was in a lot of my best ball leagues. I had him in the Bay League for a long time, and all he was missing was the touchdowns. What happened last week? He got the touchdowns, and he was leading running back. So that's all I trust for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not looking elsewhere. And honestly, my prop that I like of the week is Amari Cooper over 59.5 yards. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to stop Dak. I think they're going to run the ball, but Mike McCarthy likes to pass the ball. I mean, it looks like he had a great game last week. Dak still threw the ball a large amount of times. I mean, he had 42 points in the first half, correct? The Cowboys had last week. So the Cowboys are rolling, man. I know it's the Washington football team. If you are paying attention to my power rankings, which I personally think have been spot on and probably some of the best out there, I moved the Cowboys into my top 5 power rankings this week. And I think that they're trending at the right time. It's something Mike McCarthy's always done with his teams. He's always kind of started slow and played great December football. And that's carrying over to Dallas, man. So I'm right there with you with the prop.
One last thing. I just wanted to mention, I believe, because they've got that many trouble with the cornerbacks at the moment, they've just signed Breland, who was at the Minnesota Vikings, and he got absolutely torched wherever he was. So he is not an addition. Well, he's possibly slightly better than the man off the street, but he's not a very good cornerback. And if he's going to be trying to be covering Cooper Kupp, which he probably will be because he was the Chiefs' number 1 and he was the Vikings' number 1. So, yeah, I think that's money in the bank there with Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Amari Cooper, right?
Amari Cooper, sorry. Not Cooper Kupp, Amari. Sorry.
Yeah, Amari. Yeah, that's what I was looking at, too. And he is still Dak's like, I'm in trouble. Where's Amari? And he throws it to him, I'd like to talk about our journey. Our AM journey, our mouse journey. I've put one together, and it's coming in at +187 odds. Some of these odds have probably moved. I placed this bet last night, but this is how I feel. I'm taking Philly on the money line against the Washington football team. Philadelphia's fighting for the playoffs. They sent Santori, or whatever his name is, the head coach. I think he was just having some rookie head coaching woes. Because if you look, they've really made adjustments from how they called the game in the first four games of the season, the last 4. It's like their philosophies almost have switched besides just hard-nosed defense. That's what the Eagles have been trying to do. So I got the Eagles on the money line. I've teased up the Las Vegas Indianapolis Colts line simply because I don't trust Derek Carr on the road that much. And without Carson Wentz, I'm not sure the Colts are going to be able just to light it up or make those big, deep bombs to Michael Pittman. So I've teased that one up to 52.5 for taking the under. And I've teased Atlanta up 6.5 points. They're major underdogs on the spread against Buffalo at Buffalo. I get that. But I've teased them up to 21.5 points. So I'm starting out with 21 points with Atlanta in an outside game in December, probably in nasty weather in Buffalo. Once we add those all up, that comes up to 187. Once again, Philly money line under 52.5 points in the Las Vegas Indianapolis game in Atlanta, plus 21.5, almost 3-1. Man, I feel like these are all very safe. I don't think the Raiders are going to score a lot of points. I don't think the Colts are going to score a lot of points. The Eagles should beat the Washington football team. It is a divisional game, so those are always kind of gambles. But Atlanta with 21.5, I just couldn't believe they gave me that line in December, really. Any thoughts on that or anything you want to say about the AM games? Like, I know you have a money line that includes quite a few, a money line parlay that includes quite a few AM games. So.
I'm unsure on the Eagles and the Washington, if I'm honest. I think the Eagles will win comfortably. It's all dependent, of course, on what the Washington COVID situation is. They're obviously going to have to play better than they were. Well, they were embarrassed last week. I'm sure they'll probably put up a bit of a fight. But if Gibson's struggling at the moment and McKissick's out, so the run game's going to be quite poor. It just depends on. Scary Terry's not been himself this year. So I think Eagles is definitely the right side. They'll win both sides in the trenches. Their offensive line is phenomenally, and their running game's really, really improved. I wouldn't want to sort of put an Eagles running back forward, though, for fantasy purposes, because they've got Howard potentially back as well, and they've got Scott, and then there's the ghost of Sanders. So, yeah, I really like the Eagles as a side. The Colts game is interesting because if Carson does play, they can put points up. I think Jonathan Taylor will run all day. No, I really like your mouse. I've got a similar mouse. I've got. Oh, actually, no. I wanted to talk about my other bet, which I completely forgot about. I've taken the Rams. I've taken the Rams -3. I know you're sort of on the fence at the moment with the Rams and everything else, but what's going on at the moment in Baltimore is just they're really struggling. Is it Baltimore they're playing?
Yep,
yes, it is. So regardless if this is Lamar or not, I believe the video footage that saw Lamar this week just training, his movement is not there, so he's probably not going to go. His understudy has done quite well, but this is the Rams. A lot of people don't really have sort of missed the fact that Baltimore of O-line is really, really struggling, and they're getting beaten up all the time, which putting Lamar under pressure, and also the understudy there. So with Donald coming to town and co, I just see that they're just going to smash right through them. I don't think they'll be able to get the running game going. And then on the flip side, last week the Ravens have got no cornerbacks. They've got no cornerbacks at all. So they might have a couple of people who might be able to put back out there, but Burrow absolutely destroyed them last week, and that was simply the reason why I took the Bengals last week, because Burrow just put up a record 500 things. I'm thinking that Stafford's going to be in the similar sort of vein, even though he is sort of, it's a bounce back spot for him. He's going to hit OBJ, and he's going to hit Cooper Kupp left, right, and centre with absolutely no cornerbacks at all, and I think they'll just cruise to a victory quite comfortably. I've also expect. We need to give Sonny Michel a bit of a boost, because he's the best running back in December. He's got the most yards in December, more than Taylor, which says a lot. So I'd be looking to back him as an anytime touchdown, as well as going over his line. The Rams -3 seems a gift. Sounds trappy. Just taking it.
All right. And then you also have some second half caps up there as well that I'm seeing.
Yeah, this is more to do with what I've researched and what I've been looking into. I've got something for you here, actually, pal. A little bit of information. So I like the Patriots. Now, a lot of people like the Patriots covering the massive spread as it is.
That's huge. Yeah,
it's huge. The Jags are terrible. They really are. There's no denying it. Poor Trev hasn't had a touchdown in, I don't know, 10 weeks or whatever it is. They're not going to score points. They're not going to score points, I don't think, against this phenomenal defense. And then we go down the rookie stats and with Belichick and everything else. Well, I'm just going to know as second half handicap currently at the moment for the Pats is 7.5 at +105. So this is plus odds, and I can't. And do you know? I've done this. Okay. They've played, I'm not going to include the Bills in this, but they've played the Titans, the Falcons, the Browns, the Panthers, and the Jets. How many points do you reckon they've got in the second halves by those teams?
I really don't know. Yeah, let me hear it.
Well, the Jets managed to get 6 points. Everyone else got 0.
Woo!
0.
My God.
0. 0.
Yeah.
So even with the Bills, where they put up a fight in both halves, they still managed to keep them down in the second half to below 10 points. So I just think that this is a very, very, very poor team. And all I need to do get is 7.5 points in the second half when I don't think the Jags are going to score any points. The bookies make the Jags complete team total as 12.5 points. I don't think they'll get that. That means I don't think they'll get a touchdown because Robinson's out. They haven't got any weapons, and it means getting 4 field goals. I don't think they're going to get close enough against this defense. So second half handicap for the Pats is -7.5 at +105 on William Hill. I'm doing the same thing again with the Bills. I know you've got a big bet on the Falcons, but this is more to do with trends. So what do the Falcons do? They get up to a big lead.
And collapse.
And then they collapse. So I've got the Bills -6.5. So I've got the Bills to just beat them by a touchdown in the second half. It seems a no-brainer to me. I think the matchups for the Bills is just too good. That's why they've got a ridiculous cap. So I'm taking both of them as singles. This one is at -120, so it's not plus money, but the Pats is plus money, and I think the Pats is probably my biggest bet I'm going to have this weekend because the Jaguars are just terrible, and I can see even if Nick Folk gets 3 field goals, I just think they'll put up points whatever it is. So they're my singles.
Yeah, I agree with the second half bet. I'm going to place that one too for the Patriots. The Jaguars, we talked about it at one of the preseason betting show. We placed the wager for the Jaguars to have the least amount of wins in the season, and that was at plus 1,300 odds when we placed that bet. And I'm thinking it's going to happen because I don't see them beating the Patriots, and they lost to Houston twice, and they lost to the Jets, and the Lions. I don't know what they got going on, but that tie. They tied the Steelers, so I think
so 2.5. Yeah,
and they're going to lock up that losing worst record bet for us. And yeah, trust the Patriots. I fully anticipate the Bills to win. I fully anticipate them to take control of this game, but I just don't think they're going to win by more than 21.5 points. I do think they can cover a touchdown in the second half. That should be pretty easy. I do have another afternoon mouse for us. So I got to bring out our little guy right here, with the long tail. Pretty simple. It does include the Sunday night game, so it's a tough one. Green Bay lost to Minnesota this year. They've only lost 3 games, so keep that in mind. But I got Green Bay on the money line. I've teased up the Carolina New Orleans game. Carolina though has like 6 or 5 players out on defense with COVID. I think the Patriots have like 3 out. But I just don't trust Taysom Hill or Trevor Siemian or whoever that is to go out there and put up a lot of points. And then on the flip side, I don't trust Cam Newton or Sam Darnold or PJ Walker. I don't trust any of them to go up there and put up a lot of points against the Saints defense. So we've teased that one up, and it's only at 45.5. That's teased up a touchdown, I think, but maybe a little more. But there's no way they're going to get close to that.
Yeah, the line's 38, isn't it?
Yeah, 38. What a low line, man. So I teased it up a touchdown and a half. I feel very good about it. And then I did the same thing. I took Houston, who just dominated the Chargers last week, who has shown that they can use some clock if they get the running game going with Rex Burkhead. But I've teased them up to 18.5. I just don't see them losing by that much in the afternoon slot. That's a lot of points for any team to cover, particularly a team that won last week. So say what you want. That one's coming in at plus 161. So we're still getting very good odds on the mouse. Get something to root on for the afternoon. And guys, keep in mind, I cashed out a bet. I talked to Big Amo about it. It ended up hitting, but that's okay because we sweated it out and it went down to the last couple minutes and I almost lost that bet. But don't be scared to cash out. Big Amo and I talk about cashing out bets to each other all the time and when we're betting. Like, hey, what do you think about what's going to happen in the second half? How do you see it? Let's cash it out. That this gives us a cash out option with Green Bay being the Sunday night game. If the spread hits and if the under hits, you always have a cash out option. And guys, keep in mind when you're sports betting, if you can make small profits every day on bets, you're doing well, right? You don't go broke by putting money in your pocket in that sense. I do want to talk about a special bet before we get to your props, Big Abo. There's a special on DK, and this will kind of segue into the prop bets. We got Josh Jacobs. And Jonathan Taylor over 174.5 yards. That's at plus 110 on DK. Big Amo and I spoke about that. We feel like Jonathan Taylor, could get close to that by himself, as Witz is guaranteed out. He's not vaccinated. He's got to sit out 10 days. He's not playing. That's just the bottom line. And he's already had COVID once, right? Isn't that weird? Didn't Witz have COVID earlier this year too? Yeah, right. It's so bizarre. But yeah, my props. I didn't have a lot last night when I was looking, so I don't have a whole lot at the moment. But one thing I noticed Big Amo talked about is Waddle. We haven't talked about that game at all. Miami versus Tennessee. There's a lot of implications on this game. If Kansas City goes and wins and Miami goes and wins, I think Kansas City has locked up the #1 seed in the AFC. Right, and on the chance that the Bengals do beat Kansas City and Tennessee wins, I think Tennessee moves into the #1 seed in the AFC. But the Dolphins have been playing so daggone good, man. That defense is on fire. Tua looks like maybe he was really injured. I don't know what happened, but he's developed rhythm with Waddle, man. Waddle helped me win my DFS lineup last week. We got Waddle at 70.5 yards. Kind of sounds high, but I mean, he gets like 12 targets a game, 11 targets a game. So you're talking about 6 yards a target, 7 yards a target. I think that's very doable for Waddle. But what are your props, man? I know you got quite a few of the list right here. If you want to go through them kind of quickly for us.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of lines out.
Yeah.
But there is there's a stat circulating on the internet that Antonio Brown needs 200 yards plus and something like 18 more catches or something like that to hit himself a bonus. There's no, I mean, this is an absolute no-brainer. So whatever his yards is, just bet it. Unless it's over 100, then that's just ridiculous. But he's going to be the main component again of Tom Brady's Arsenal when throwing, because
also real quick, the same thing happened last year, and Tom Brady went out of his way to make sure that AB got his bonus because his salary was like the veteran minimum or something last year. So Tom Brady made sure that he got it last year. And Brady's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, he'll do the same thing this year. It will help him a little bit more, the fact that they've got no Godwin and they've got no Evans. So he's just going to be taking yards off Gronk, and I don't think he'll really mind about that. And I shared with you this week, if anyone's seen it, check out AB versus who's the guy who's ex-Patriot. The video I sent to you last week where AB just destroyed Gilmore. Yeah, one of the best cornerbacks. He absolutely destroyed him last week. So he's in the form of his life, and I think as an over, that's a definite. I'm going to sort of pair that up with anything that Khalees is. I'm sure it's going to be around about 80. Just going to take that as well. The Bengals last time, Kittle put 150 up against the Bengals. They are very weak against the tight end. I really like Waddle. I like Cooper Kupp, even though he is 107, but no one's going to get anywhere near him. And I really, really like potentially.
Also, how many yards was he off from the record? Do you know off the top of your head?
Oh, 200, wasn't it?
200 and something and 18 catches, right?
It is, yeah. The 18 catches is probably going to be the main one. So he needs at least, 9 or 10 this time. I don't know what OBJ will be saying about that, but I'm sure it'll happen. But they're playing against no cornerbacks. So it's, he's going to feed. He really is going to feed. And I really like the two-headed monster of Denver this week. I think Denver might cause a bit of trouble, even though they're struggling a little bit. I believe that Teddy's out, isn't he? So there's a possibility that they'll utilize him best they possibly can. Are they playing the Chargers, who's got one of the worst rushing defenses statistically? It's horrific. So both of them, if they're both because it's a two-headed monster, they're probably around about sort of 50-60 each. I can see both of Gordon and Williams both going over both of them. I think that's.
Burkhead had 143 against the Chargers, and I don't think he's had 30 yards all season in another game. So,
I thought Burkhead was a passing back. I thought you just pass it to him. I didn't know he actually was a running back itself. So that's to me that's a bit strange. And I like Mixon as well, because the Chiefs have as much as they've not been putting too many things deep, the running backs have been able to get a little bit of it out of the way. And I can see the Bengals using Mixon a lot. So his yardage might be around about 70. I can see him easily getting up to 80, 90. The Chiefs are averaging well over 100 each time. So that's a potential option as well. As for touchdowns, you had a really good success last week with the touchdown scorer and win. Now, at the moment, these aren't up at the moment, but they will be. So Taylor to Colts to win, Adams for the Green Bay and to win, and I'd say Harris for the Pats. All those three look pretty certain. They all should get a touchdown. So have them as touchdowns or parlay them up however you want. But we found value with what was Adams last week? It was just over evens, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just over evens with Adams in the touchdown, and then I did Cordell Patterson in Atlanta, and they made me sweat it out against Detroit. It was like a last-second drive. I was like, I should have cashed it out. But yeah, it's a same-game parlay that we found, Big Amo and I found in it. You're almost always guaranteed positive odds because of the touchdown score. So who do you think's going to win? And if they're going to win, who the heck's scoring the touchdown? All right, figure that out, and you're getting good odds for a two-leg parlay. And most of the time, the money line we're feeling like it's a sure thing. So you're really just betting on the touchdown score, and you're getting great odds for it. So keep that in mind as well, everybody. And also, Big Almo, cover your mouse. We didn't get to talk about your mouse. We didn't get to talk about your money line parlay either.
Well, my mouse, I've doubled down here. It's probably shouldn't have done this because I don't like keeping too many eggs in one basket. But I've doubled down on the money line for both Dallas and the Rams. I'm quite confident that both of them will win quite comfortably. So they're two money lines. I've gone for the under, like you have, in the Saints and the Panthers. The Panthers have gone. They really have gone. Don't think them scoring. And the Saints defense is the best unit in the whole of that pitch. So I don't think they're going to score that much. Kamara might have a field day, but other than that, I can't see him getting above the 45 that we want. I don't think so. That's going to be quite a low game. And I've added, for my spread, I've added the Patriots minus 8.5. Once again, the Jags are a terrible, terrible team. If they prove everybody wrong in the whole world tomorrow by beating the Pats, I don't really. I might paint my face orange.
Well, that's coming in at plus 390, people. So those are dang good odds.
It's a fourfold, 390. So that's just over 3 to 1. So really you can't grumble at that at all. So we've got some fantastic. Do you want me to go over all my bets? We've got some fantastic options this week. I've got
read the money line parlay too, because we haven't gone over that one yet.
Oh yeah, well it was.
We just felt that we didn't talk about this specific bet.
I've got with moneyline parlay. They're all very short, but it comes at 3 to 1 again. So it's over three plus 191. Sorry, it was 4 to 1. My mouse. I like the Colts. I like the Saints. I like the Packers. I like the Bucks, and I like the Bills. Sounds pretty straightforward, to be honest. All of them should win. And it comes in at 3 to 1. There might be a shocker in there somewhere, but
yeah, it's fine. And, parlays are always a gamble. Big Almo, I tell you that all the time. It's hard to hit one bet. Professional bettors come in at 55%, guys. Once you start adding 2 and 3 and 4 legs, just tell yourself that you're doing something that's a difficult task. We're building the pyramids here in Egypt with the betting. All right, so don't go crazy with your unit bet on parlays, people. Please don't do that. All right. Yeah, man, I would just like to kind of close out the show real quick with some award betting. And guys, keep in mind when you're betting on awards, they don't hand out those awards till right before the Super Bowl. So you're going to have to wait to figure this out. You're going to have to wait to get paid out. But you guys know I love Defensive Player of the Year. I bet on it every year. And, I thought for sure we were going to have TJ Watt. I was like, we're about to have a big payday watching this award show. And then they did us dirty with Aaron Donald. But right now, the Defensive Player of the Year, the 2 people with the best odds, Micah Parsons at plus 200. I think they're going to give him Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think they're just going to allow him to just come up and get Defensive Player of the Year in his rookie year. I just don't see that happening. TJ Watt is sitting at plus 200, but then we have the fact about the Steelers may not make the playoffs. Are they really going to get a Defensive Player of the Year to somebody that didn't make the playoffs? But he's leading. He's a sack leader, and he's missed 2 games. Real quick, I wanted to circle back to Kamara. I thought about this. I was so on Kamara. I thought he was going to be the leading runner in the year. Kamara has missed 4 games this year. We still have 2 more to go, and he has already rushed the ball more this year than he did last year. So the stats were there, the trends were there. That sometimes you just things don't bounce how you expect them to be. But he's already way over his rush total from last year. They're probably going to give him the Brock about 20 times. I do want to say an outlier for the defensive player of the year to me is Nick Bosa. He could come in and get really close to that high sack total. His team could go to the playoffs after starting really bad, and he's got a really popular name with his dad being an NFL player too. So Bosa, I like for the defensive player of the year. If you want a long shot, you want to hedge it some. I am going to go with T.J. Watt. It just scares me because they snubbed him last year, and there's a chance Pittsburgh may not make the playoffs this year. When we go to Coach of the Year real quick, I think there's some really interesting odds because they're all positive right now. Matt LaFleur, they seem like media is kind of pumping him up, but if he didn't get it last year, he did get the year before that. I don't know why they would give it to him this year. I mean, there's been a lot of injuries, but I feel like they're like, oh well, you had Aaron Rodgers, so you don't get the like you didn't have to work hard to do that. But he's sitting at plus 175. Zach Taylor for the Bengals. If somehow the Bengals can win the division, that's at plus 750. I'm going to place a wager on it just because what a turnaround. I mean, he was going to be fired this year if they had a losing record. I guarantee it. Instead, he's turned it around and having a great year. And then Mike McCarthy, if you think the Dallas Cowboys coach has a chance to do it, his is at plus 2,000. So that's, again, you could hedge those 3 for coach of the year. I think there's pretty good odds for all 3 of them. I don't see it coming from anywhere else. From the MVP, well, I hope y'all listened to the show at the beginning of the year when we told you Aaron Rodgers couldn't do it. I said he may have a better statistical year than he had last year and may get snubbed. Well, guess what? I don't know if he's going to be able to get snubbed because I don't know who's going to do it. They really wanted Tom Brady to be the MVP the past 2 or 3 weeks. He's really let that go. So Rodgers right now is at negative 175, not great odds. Cooper Kupp, the outlier to me, he's at plus 1,800. We know the NFL loves the Rams. We know they want them to be the most relevant team. He's at plus 1,800. He's probably going to break Calvin Johnson's record. There's been a lot of attention to it. Like I said, they haven't even talked about how much Calvin Johnson had to work to do that on a bad team. But Cooper Kupp is at plus 1,800 to be the MVP. It might be worth a shot. I mean, if you place $2, it's $36. I mean, it's a pretty good change around just to place a small wager on it. So those are my thoughts on it. Do you have any closing thoughts on any of those, Big Amo, before we get out of here for the day?
I think we just.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. We need to give a nod to Robert Quinn, who is half a sack away from getting the Bears' all-time sack record. I mean, he is someone that probably no one picked up in IDP very early on, with Khalil Mack on the other side. But he's been phenomenal this year. He's not going to get any awards, but I just think we should mention the fact that he's half a sack away from breaking the Bears' all-time sack record, which is
100 years.
100 years. So, yeah. That's a phenomenal achievement. I had him in every one of my IDP leagues last year. He did nothing.
The way the cookie crumbles. Well, see, that's what happens, guys. For IDP players, especially, you want bad offenses. Why does Roquan Smith have 140 tackles? Because he's on the field all the time. Why is Robert Quinn getting close to breaking that sack record? Because the Bears' defense is on the field all the time. So, yeah, I'm rooting for him. He's a Bear, but I kind of watched him as a travel journeyman kind of defensive end, and I'm pulling for him, man. I'm hoping he does well. I just want to say thank you guys for joining. Big Amo and I will be back next week, even though the fantasy system is over. Even though there's probably going to be a lot of teams playing only about a quarter or a half of their team next week. You need to keep that in mind. But this week, let's keep it on this week. You got any questions? Don't be hesitant to hit us up. Big Amo, you want to tell people your information, where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm at Loco Beans, LOCOBEANZ. Always up for talking fantasy football, always up for talking gambling. Looking forward to moving on to the playoffs, and it should be a good year next year.
Yeah, like I said, I've told you guys I have a playoff bankroll that I'm hitting. I didn't recap the week last week because I played some more bets, like Big Love want to talk about. We placed a lot of live bets. I placed a lot of bets up until the moment. And I had my best week of betting in probably 2 months last week, man. And then with both my best ball tournaments getting knocked out, I got the money in from that. So we're pretty close to the goal. Let's try to get to the bankroll. Let's get ready for the playoffs because it's still unpredictable, but you know what the teams have once you get in the playoffs. You know their strengths, you know their weaknesses. You just got to see how the coach handles it. All right. Thank you guys for following. Check out Iggy's Fantasy and Betting for your needs. We do have Big Almost prop bets. We got Player Pine. I will have that out for this week. I'm not going to let you guys just be empty on that week. It's been really great. I've been really hitting on the Player Pine for about the past month. Because, like I said, the tape's there, the stats are there. I know what they're going against. You know, we're no longer betting blind here in week 17, so to speak. All right, Big Amo, I love having you on. Don't forget, go put our mouses on, baby. They've been hitting lately. It's been a lot of fun. It's just a fun parlay to do it. Like I said, you should have been tracking your bets all season to see what you're doing good at. I found out I'm not very good at it on an untee spread. You know, it's research data. Let's get better. Let's become better. Let's become smarter. All right. Big Amo, appreciate you being on the show, man. I love it. I love this show so much. I look forward to it all week. And let's go win some money this weekend, my friend.
See you on Sunday.
All righty. Bye, guys.